Trae. Come on. It's the day with Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to a fabulous Friday. I'm really excited, y'all. My guy, Evan Poncelet's in the building. We're going to be talking about an amazing venture he is on, a managing partner. I'm going to be talking all about Dreamward. I got it right, yeah. I'm excited to have him here because this is something that is so necessary in our community. So we're going to be diving into all of the particulars on this fabulous Friday. I also just got to say, you know what time it is. It's the top of the show. So it's a great time to tag and share this stream, this link, however you're watching this. Share it with folks who you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on the Day with Trae. And you know, if you can't watch us as a TV show, we got you covered because we also create a podcast for all of y'all out there. So if you can't watch us, you can definitely listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Networks and The Day with Trae. You'll find me on whichever platform is your favorite. Well, before I get into it in the show with Evan, I just got to say thank you all. You know, we just experienced Mother's Day this past week. And to be honest, it was such a joy to hear from so many folks who really appreciate the love of a mother. So if you have someone in your life who maybe it's your mother, maybe it's someone like a mother, maybe it's a community mother, you know, make sure that y'all are giving them love every day, not just on Mother's Day, but every day, because honestly, there's nothing greater than when my sons tell me how they appreciate me, how they see the effort I pour into them. That is something that is beyond special. And so I just wanted to take this time to give my sons a huge shout out for being amazing sons. You know, I have a great relationship with both of my sons, Amiri and Ajani. I love y'all so much. And I'm grateful for that. You know, even through tough times, we find a way to come together as a family. They find a way to talk to me as their mother in a way that brings me in instead of shutting me out. And I'm so grateful for that because motherhood is something that is so unique. I know fatherhood is too, but I'm not a father. So I got to speak about it from being a mom. And I can just say that as your children grow up, and if you have young people in your lives that are mentees or someone you're, you know, helping to raise in any way, you know what it is when they start growing up and getting into their own. And it's so beautiful to watch young people that you poured into blossom. And so I just wanted to take some time to encourage all of the mothers out there, especially those young mothers who, you know, I found myself in postpartum depression with my first son, and I didn't understand what was going on with me. All I knew was it didn't feel right for me to have to rush back to work. It didn't feel right for me to have to be away from my son when he was only a few months old. And I've never really publicly shared that, y'all, but I thought it was important as we just got over, you know, Mother's Day last weekend. I thought, you know what? It's important to encourage young mothers out there because even you're young, you're in the middle, you're a little bit older. When you experience that disconnection from your newborn, there is something that is very different in your mind that can happen. And so I just want to encourage y'all because honestly, I'm so grateful I had a solid family, you know, his father there to support me. That was so needed at that time. So I want y'all to be encouraged, be inspired, because honestly, when you are, that inspiration kicks in at times where a lot of other things fail. And so I encourage you all, if you have someone in your life who is that mother figure or is a mother in your life, be loving on them, y'all. If you have a relationship that needs mending, mend it now. Work on it now. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off. Work on it now because you all will be so much better for it. So I just want to share that word of encouragement for all of the mothers out there. Of course, y'all, we're going to actually be learning about about something that has nothing to do with motherhood, but it's definitely a way to be building generational wealth through some specific investing that Evan is a part of. Up next after this break, Evan Poncelet, y'all, is going to be telling us more about this amazing effort to invest in Black ventures. Y'all stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Here on Back to Basa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region, and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Basa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Seattle really is just a big neighborhood. It was a place for us to grow.
We all have a gift of some sort. It's just my vision of what I see.
Theater allows you to hit harder and be more. There's a sense of hope that your story will survive longer than you will.
Stream on the Cascade PBS app or watch live. Fridays at 8:50 p.m. on Cascade PBS. Learn more at blackartslegacies.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is my buddy, Evan. What's up, Evan?
Hey, good to be here, Trae. This is amazing.
Yeah, this is so great. This is your first time in the Black Media Matter studios, yeah?
This is my first time.
Well, you and I have been talking about the world of tech. You are my tech go-to. Every time I think of something, I go, I probably need to talk to Evan about it because I don't know much about tech. But tell us your background. What got you into the world of technology?
Yeah. So when I was a kid down in Tacoma, Washington, the CTO of the Boys and Girls Club of Pierce County came into my typing class and asked a bunch of us if we wanted to start a technology club in my high school at Foss. And we said yes, a group of about 5 of us, and they had us crawling through the school's pile of old computers to dig through them, take apart the broken computers, build new ones. And those became the first computer labs at the Boys and Girls Club of Pierce County. And then they had us going around setting up email servers back in the 90s, it's just kind of how that was going. For different community businesses, for like a Northwest Pastoral Council, for just a bunch of different nonprofits. And so I learned a lot of the fundamentals of computer networks. And it got me thinking, hey, I'm a young person, I'm out in the world searching for identity. And those all made me understand myself as kind of a useful, contributing member of society. And that led straight through to my college entrance application, just putting it out there that was my area of interest, and got into computer and electrical engineering at Gonzaga University, graduated in the heart of the recession, then went straight to Fluke Networks up in Everett, working on computer networks, but doing more complicated things like shooting laser beams down fiber optic cables and building some of the first kind of handheld devices with the smart screens that came out for the smartphones and things. And then, I got my master's in computer science from Seattle University in 2014, hopped down to Silicon Valley for a stint, and then George Floyd happened. And that called me back to community to come work with Africa Town to help work on the William Gross Center for Cultural Innovation and Enterprise. And that project came together. We got kids doing amazing things, just like what I'd been doing at the Boys and Girls Club, getting them associating practical experience in high demand skills into their identity. And so we've seen, a lot of good results from that so far.
Oh my gosh, Evan, I've known you for some time, and it's so beautiful to hear your history and what got you started, because there's always these thorough lines and things that we pick up over time, right? Where it's like, man, who would have known that me doing that would have, brought about this huge interest that now has become like your entire career. And it's so great that you felt the need to bring your brilliance back into community, because it doesn't happen all the time, and it's so necessary for us to have some pillars in our community that we can look to. I mean, so you really have a lot of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge. And then you were like, I need to learn about some of this investing stuff. I mean, we're in Washington State. We have a lot of people making a lot of money, right? And so tell us about what got you interested in learning kind of this venture capital side of things.
Yeah, so we'd run an accelerator through Black Dot for Black businesses, and we were seeing a lot of community, place-based, and lifestyle businesses, but not a lot of folks that are working on venture scale startups. And so that was kind of just one, okay, that's interesting. But then the other bit was we looked at the finance picture, and there's kind of this general sentiment that it's hard for Black founders to raise money. And so I wanted to know more about that. And so I looked at the data, and the data says that less than 2% of capital that gets invested from investors in Black, or in any businesses, gets invested in Black businesses. So I was like, okay, that's not great. Like, how many of us are, building companies that are the kind of the sort that investors would be interested in? And so I needed to go out and find Black founders that were working on venture scale business to get a better sense of that. But then also looking further in the data and some of the work that Jill Johnson had done with the Institute for Entrepreneurial Leadership, discovered that only 1% of angel investors were Black. And John Sechrist, who runs the Seattle Angel Conference, he was the economic development director for Corvallis down in Oregon. He moved up and started the Seattle Angel Conference here some years back, got in touch with White King. White King got in touch with me to get involved in some way, bringing high net worth individuals that meet the SEC accreditation thresholds for investing in privately held businesses, to try to get them into the Seattle Angel Conference. We were just getting the William Grist Center programming together, like after the renovation was complete. So I was like, okay, well, we don't have time to do a larger effort, but I'll take it myself. I'll jump in just to keep the foot in the door. And it blew my mind. It was like, okay, so we can actually do collective economics. It's done in a standard structural way globally, and all we have to do is kind of arrange ourselves to do it. There are a lot of tax incentives to do it. And the one thing that got me was just that, okay, well, still, angel investing as a community, it's a grassroots solution that, we have more people from our community in the tech firms making high, median salaries that can meet the SEC accreditation threshold, more people doing better in banking, more sports players getting out of the game that want to, do something that they perceive as being a similar status to what they just got out of. And so I was like, you know what, if we all got together, we could build our own angel network to ensure that Black founders got the investment that they need. And so pitched it on August 10th at the Douglas Truth Library to an assembled group of folks that were either working in venture scale founding or they were high net worth individuals that could do the SEC accreditation thresholds. And enough people said, yes, let's do it, to where we built the network up and started a Black Founders and Funders group that meets out at Venture Mechanics in Bellevue, and just started doing it up. And on June 8th is actually going to be our big competition report out. So we've had 22 venture scale Black founders pitched to our angel network of 12 angel investors. We winnowed it down to 10 in the semifinals, and then now in our finals we have 5, and they're amazing companies that are burning up all the different angel syndicates. Everybody wants allocation in these amazing companies, and so I'm honored that they picked us to work with, and I'm honored that the angels tapped in. And these are community solutions that can cause real change. Like Amazon is the obvious startup winning story here in the Northwest, and that all started with some investments that were made, one by his family in a friends and family round, but also by the people at Madrona Ventures, which is now Seattle's largest venture capital firm. And so if we can do that for folks in the Black diaspora, we could have a Black Amazon, right? We could do that for our community. And there are all these great things that are happening right now that are going to make that something that is a big possibility for Seattle.
Oh my God, this is so fantastic. So some background so that I can bring y'all into this and why I'm so in awe of this guy right here. Evan, you went through the Seattle Angel Conference and then you contacted me and you're like, you need to learn this, you need to go through it. And it blew my mind as well. So you were in year 2022, I was in 2023, right? And it was so phenomenal to learn how people get together and do cooperative economics. But it was also, I was blown away at the businesses that were before us. I was like, almost all of them really are fantastic. How do we whittle down from 96 down to 1, right? And so when you're talking about this process, it's so, I'm so excited because, you know, we have talked a lot about the need for this, right? We talk about the principles of Kwanzaa all the time. Cooperative economics is one of them, and yet we didn't really have the mechanism for what that looks like. I think we've seen a lot of kind of these things come and go, you know, right? I don't know. They had different names where it's like you pull your money together and somebody gets it, but it's essentially like a susu, which is still very successful. But I really appreciate the fact that you're like, we're talking about these venture scale businesses. So it creates a real niche in what y'all are looking for. How do people get engaged and get involved in this, Evan? Because you're blowing people's minds right now with the fact that this is the first round, and this is huge that y'all have been able to do this.
Yeah, I think the June 8th event is going to be the big tap in, and so that's going to be from 1:30 to 5:30 at Venture Mechanics Co-working Studios of Bellevue. And so they're going to be able to see the 5 founders that we elected from 22 founders that started off to potentially be, it's going to be winner take all for $50,000 to $100,000 of our investment. They're going to be able to see 5 other companies exhibiting venture scale startups to really understand what that means. And really to kind of double click on that, that's companies that are capable of achieving the scale where they'll have hundreds of millions of dollars of annual revenue. And so my philosophy is that there are community scale businesses, lifestyle businesses, and they're doing well in terms of organizing. But what I'm seeing is that the venture scale folks are very siloed, and so they don't know each other. It makes it harder to learn best practices. It makes it harder for them to get in front of investors that kind of care about them, that are mission and margin oriented. We see a lot of folks that are out there for margin, and the folks that want to connect with mission don't know how to do it, or it's perceived as being too difficult because you've got to go here, you've got to go there. So really, we've got the Black Founders and Funders meeting that meets the 4th Wednesday of each month out at Venture Mechanics. Then we're going to have on June 8th that big Launchpad Expo Venture Conference that I welcome people to, especially accredited investors, because you got to see these companies, these businesses. Half of them are from the Pacific Northwest, another half are coming from the South and back East, but amazing founders. One of them who won the Seattle Angel Conference is, of course, made it to our finals as well, Doppel, a telerobotic ultrasound company, right, that is helping rural doctors get specialist care in the form of ultrasound, remote-controlled ultrasound, so delivering babies in rural areas and multiplexing healthcare for people.
Well, I get to say I voted for Doppel, right? Like from the beginning, Doppel was a part of the Seattle Angel Conference that I was in. And from the beginning, I was just like, this is possible. I mean, especially now with the explosion of technology that we have, you can see how so many different realms of pulling together these tech ideas. It starts with an idea. Then you got to build the right team to make the idea real, because I think there's so many different layers, and I just give kudos to any founders who are really dipping their toes in this water, because from trademarks and all of the, just all the things you really got to do to secure just the idea before you can really go out there and start getting capital for it. There's a huge investment that's necessary. So I'm so glad that y'all have opportunities for folks to learn more about this. And you are so right. This is exactly what I'm talking about all the time here. If you're inspired to do something and you just did it, you went to an angel conference and you said, oh my gosh, I know what to do. But that's the beauty of your brain, Evan. I just love it, because honestly, I went through it and I was like, whoa, there was so much to learn. I felt like such a novice, and I loved it because every time I was in a meeting, I was learning something, right? And I was like, when we think about getting our businesses to understand, there is a foundation, a mechanism that is built for them. It changes the game. Tell us about that kind of cultural responsiveness that y'all are pulling in to your investing versus maybe some of the other investor networks.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that a lot of other investor networks have the desire to have a DEI focus or bring in some number of founders from diverse backgrounds. But I find that oftentimes they don't have those relationships that are necessary to actually bring that about. And so they're going through and finding, people in their local environment, but they're not hanging out where Black founders are, where Latino founders are. And so it's too infrequent that they encounter them, and that they encounter them that are prepared for the investment. And so by making a pipeline of founders that, meet those requirements to pitch to our network, we can act as kind of like a deal flow syndication lead to do the DEI work for all these other VCs and for angel networks, so that our check is the first check in. We do technical due diligence because a lot of the folks that are on our angel team are all folks that are working in biotech, healthcare. Like, I'm a computer science guy. We got a couple computer science folks in there. We've got, the deputy mayor of Woodinville in our group. So, a lot of great folks. And so, so I guess I might be going off track on the question, but really what we're trying to do is de-silo the Black professional class so that they can use the relationships and have the relationships of trust they need to be able to build their businesses, to be ready to go pitch to investors, and then also to know the investors to pitch to, because funding and founding these businesses, it moves at the speed of trust.
Yeah.
And so we really need to get people, investing outside of just their kin group. It should be that we spend more time knowing each other, knowing what our professional capacities are, and being able to pool our money so that one thing I see is people trying to kind of strong arm it. So they have a respectable amount of money, but they put too large of chunks in individual companies. And if they had a collective of people to work with and they could put smaller chunks into a wider variety of companies and diversify. And so that's what my angel network's focus is on doing, is allowing people to diversify a portfolio of Black-owned venture scale startups so that they don't have to strong arm it, so they don't have to wait 10 years for any one of them to return and have exhausted their ability to do that sort of asset class work. And so really that's it, is just making it more predictable and not letting the cards fall where they may by being really intentional in terms of building these pipelines.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you said it, mission and margin, right? Because that margin is really that rate of return.
And that's what makes it sustainable.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Evan, I could talk to you all day about this because I geek out about this. I mean, to me, this is revolutionary. It is revolutionary, hands down. It is so necessary, but it's revolutionary. The idea of folks who have the means coming together for the greater good, because I think that's also too, like, you're investing in businesses and startups that are really building for the greater good, right? That's also something that struck me in this process. Was it wasn't just let's go, all of it had to, like, is it better for the planet? Like, are we really, doing something to lower carbon footprint here? Like, what is the that greater good need? And so I love this, and it's so necessary. Last time, because you got to give people the website, how they tap in, whatever it is, you got tech folks on there. I'm sure there's a website. Yep. Let them know right here how they tap in, Evan. This is fantastic.
Yeah, so you can go to bffpnw.org to see the events calendar that I'm working on. You can submit events. So we have Black Wall Street events coming up, so you can tap in, add your event to the calendar. We've got a couple great venture scale conferences coming up on July 17th from the Culture Black Startup Studios, taking over, I think it's 4 buildings of the Foster School of Business at UW to lead a giant venture scale Black business conference. Where you'll be able to tackle every aspect of it and get in deep, meet investors, meet other people that are founding in the venture space. And then my event on June 8th, which of course is going to be a great opportunity to meet Black founders, and they're going to be looking for investment, the folks that are there. And for you to tap in and learn what this is about, because this is an asset class to think about. So you might invest in stocks, you might invest in bonds, you might keep some money in CDs or your savings account, but you can also invest in unregistered with the SEC startup businesses. And so those are the earliest stage of startups. And that's where you can get a fractional ownership of the business for very low expense. And if you're investing in scalable businesses that are, like I'm saying, capable of reaching that $100 million a year revenue mark, then you can imagine what like a 1% ownership of that would be when they get to that point. So investing early, it's a high risk asset class, so you do need to develop a portfolio strategy. But yeah, tap in with us and we can teach you about that. Again, that's bffpnw.org. You can email me. I'm just evan@dreamward.vc. Or you can come to the events that we're talking about.
Oh, Evan, Dreamward. Oh, beautiful work, my friend. Thank you so much for being here on this fantastic Friday. You made it even more fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. Y'all, I'm going to wrap all of this up. I'm super inspired right now, by the way. I'm going to wrap it all up right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client, discussing their fields, and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. I'll see you guys in a few.
Big Tobacco thinks they know everything. They think they know you, your community, the places you go, and the way that you spend your time. They think they got you all figured out, down to a formula, a calculation based off of numbers of what they think they know. Show them they're wrong. Learn more at theythinktheyknowyou.org.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I just got to say huge shout out to my buddy, Evan Poncelet. You know, it starts with an idea, and he and I talked about this idea, and here it is. He's doing it. It's just that simple. You know, sometimes you have something that's burning in you and you want to kind of dig a little deeper. You want to learn a little more. You want to pull on that thread and it becomes a golden gem. And that's really what he just shared with all of us today. And it was beyond inspiring. If you're somebody out there who is like, man, there's something over here that has been burrowing within me, you know, take this as an opportunity to be inspired to do something about it. You know, the more of us who are doing something about the things that are burrowing inside of us, the better the world is. I promise you that. And I'm so grateful to Evan for being here to share this amazing story with us all of how he was able to pull on that thread a little bit and create an amazing opportunity for us to change the landscape of venture investing. You know, building that capital is serious for startups, but now Black folks who are looking to do startups have a place to go to. And that doesn't mean they have to stop there. Get that initial capital, go after more capital because you need millions of dollars to get these things up off the ground. But as he said, when they start to show that profit of hundreds of millions, it's definitely worth it, all of the energy that it took to get there. So I want y'all to be inspired. I'm so glad to end this amazing week with such an inspiring story, y'all. If you have folks out there that are inspiring you in certain ways, please don't hesitate to make sure that they hit The Day with Trae, because that's what we're all about, sharing inspiring in stories for all of you to be informed and engaged in great things that are going on around you. Please email us at thedayWithTrae@whereweconverge.com. You can send us some folks, say, hey, I got this great person who needs to be interviewed. Our team will respond so we can get them right here on this show to share those inspiring stories. Y'all, thank you so much for being with me this week. It's been a pure pleasure as always. And you know, for me, until Monday at 11 a.m. Peace, y'all. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.